Welcome to the Succeed with Software podcast, brought to you by SuiteDash. Today's episode is from one of the bi-weekly Q&A webinars. To participate live, just follow the link in the description to sign up and submit your questions. Be sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and following us on all social media to get the latest videos and updates about new and existing features. All right, so let's get started. Okay, welcome everyone. This is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of SuiteDash. Thanks for joining us here on the Q&A webinar. All right, so as we always do, let's get everyone to please jump into the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. Say hi tell us where you're joining us from, and let's see who's here with questions, seeking knowledge, doing the work, getting your life back. We'll help you. We're helping you. All of that here. Teresa, hello from Minnesota. Nice to see you. And Pat from Pennsylvania and Jessica from New Jersey. Hello, hello. I have some questions that you guys did submit on your way into the webinar during registration, so we can start to look at those. Hello, T from Delaware. I'm proud of myself. I know all the state abbreviations. So I have the questions. We can do that. Or if you guys have questions that you just urgently want to, well, that's okay. We know T from Delaware. Let me just throw the chat up here. If you have questions that you want to jump right into, we can do that. What I might do is let's take a vote. First 5 people to vote that's what we will go with. Should we start with questions or should we look at a recently released feature? So we'll let you guys vote. 1 is questions, 2 is feature. We can do either one. And sometimes if we, at the end of these sessions, if we, all right, we got two versus 1 for questions so far. All right, let's start with questions. And then if we have some time near the end, we'll go ahead and just discuss a really recently released feature or something like that. We'll try to get to everything, okay? All right, so Dawn is the first one here to jump in. Hi, Dawn. Let's see if Dawn, I believe Dawn are you the coach? Coaching and content marketing? I see okay, great. And it's okay if I could read your question out loud. Let's go ahead and move over to an account here. Okay, great. All right, Dawn says, as a coach, one of my challenges is being able to track my coaching hours for accreditation. This is required to verify one's experience. Yeah, got that. So at least 500 coaching hours for level 2 and so on for level 3. Is it possible to download events as a CSV file, and is there an alternative workaround? Okay. So Dawn, let me understand. We don't make it possible to download events as a CSV file, because I think not a reason that's related to your question, but let's get to the root of your question and see if we can identify some possible scenarios that would help you use the platform's tools to do that, okay? So when you have events, I think what you're trying to say is that the events are set from, say, 1 p.m. and it's an hour-long event. And from that export, you planned to extract the number of hours scheduled with end-user clients. That's my guess. And I think you're going to say yes, but we're waiting for the confirmation. Something like that, Dawn, or each event is a coaching session, which I want to be able to track. Got it. Have you seen our timers functionality, Dawn? Because I think you might find that it would be a decent way to do that. And it would just involve, just starting a timer, and you can associate a timer with a client, a specific client or company. And in the case that you one day move into a timed invoicing situation, that is really where our timers are most impressive, in that the timers are designed to be able to instantly move from a completed timer. This is the timer widget here. So it's really easy to start. All you'd have to do is just say, okay, so this is a coaching session. You can fill that in really quickly. You don't even need to assign it at the beginning. You can just really quickly click this, start typing, and start a timer. And then when you're finished with the timer, you can assign it to a client. You can add it to what we call an accumulating invoice, is quite typical. And that accumulating invoice will essentially keep, oh, sorry, let me move the chat, because behind it is where all the things I was trying to show you. The accumulating invoice is the place where you can easily invoice this timer. So here, this one's running. You could have added an hourly rate to it if you wanted. You can stop this timer, and then now you can invoice it really easily here, or you can, it's added to the list, of course, if you complete it. You can easily switch timers. Now here you see there's a running timer. It's been running for a very long time. If you have one that's paused, you could switch back to this one really quickly and start it. You can switch between these timers quite easily. This is the one coaching session that I had started. Do I want to stop the current timer? So there's a lot of functionality here built in. And then these values, especially if you add a hourly rate before you start the timer, it will keep track of the values that you are accumulating there, and then easily let you move them to an invoice if that's your need. But for you, I would say look at the possibility of quickly starting a timer, ending a timer, and then you can have an accumulation of these timers that will let you track that. I don't know that's the perfect answer for you, but I want to make sure you're aware of it. So let's try that. Try that, and if you have further questions, I don't think an export of events is out of the question, because I see that you do say, if not, please add this to the roadmap. An export's not difficult for a CSV for us to build. We just want to make sure that we built it appropriately for your needs. So that's what I'm trying to understand as well. So I think what you need is the duration of the event is an important part, right? As a column, you would need some other items similar to that, but you would want the title of the event, the duration of the event. Do you also use appointments? Thank you, Dawn. That's good. If you use appointments, you may find that I don't know if you use them or not, but maybe I think you're just using events at this point. So good. So for those of you that have not used events, events are designed to work as a follow-up mechanism, typically on a schedule, for clients during a sales or onboarding cycle. So what that means is that if you meet someone for the first time and you put them into your CRM, you can add events to that record as follow-ups to remind you. So the idea is that you don't have to constantly remind yourself, hey, I need to follow up with this guy, follow up with that person, follow up with that lady. The CRM every morning will tell you what your schedule is on your calendar based on that. And in conjunction, just to highlight the automation possibilities in SuiteDash, event generators are designed to help you systematize that process. Okay, so for example, if you have a standard follow-up schedule that you design or define, something like, okay, I want to follow up with them on the phone call after 7 days, again at 14 days, and then an email at 21 days. This is a very simple follow-up schedule. You can create that as an event generator, right? So let's just edit this one. An event generator works in the sense of, here's using relative due dates. Okay. So what this means is when you add an event generator, you are going to schedule this. Let's say we said 7 days for an email. 7 days, you're defining the number of days after this is triggered. Okay. And you're setting several other things as well here based on the contact's time zone. You can define the assignee, etc. So this is a pre-made, a pre-configured event generator. And then when you add a new client, you can apply this particular event generator or any other event generator. And if it had 7 events on this weekly check-ins, similar to what we just discussed, the second you added that client or applied the event generator to the client, that's day 0. And the relative days would be added to that day 0. So in an example where it's September 1st, then your first event would be automatically scheduled on September 8th. Then the second one on September 15th and September 22nd. These would be automatically created. And this lets you predefine these follow-up schedules and then apply them on the fly. And the platform will automatically schedule them for you. Okay, that's what events are really defined for. And in fact, one day we may, inside information, we may rename these to something like follow-ups because it's a little more clear and paves the way for future functionality that we are designing at this point called meetings. All right, so I can get into that if we need to, but are appointments exportable? Well, no, we don't have exportable appointments either, Don. So we don't typically focus on exporting data out of the platform. We focus more on cross-linking and cross-integrating the toolkits inside the platform. But I understand why you would need it. It's a little bit bespoke as far as the functionality. But again, please do. Your input is heard right now, and we will look at the possibility of making that doable for you. Not difficult. Just need to make sure again that we're hitting the right data points on the export. Of course, that could be a work in progress. Not difficult. Okay. Thank you, Dawn. That's good feedback. I hope it helped a little bit for you. Okay, so I also see Jessica. Jessica, hello. Jessica's joining us from, let me remember, New Jersey, correct? All right, Jessica, let me look for your questions here if you submitted any. Yep. Okay, Jessica, I'm going to read your questions if that's okay. Jessica is with an organization providing accreditation to healthcare laundry facilities. Interesting. That's cool. There's an accreditation for that, huh? I would imagine, yeah. Something like there has to be a certain type of cleanliness, obviously cleanliness, sterility factor there. That's probably only part of it. I'm sure it's much more. Yeah, I'm sure it's much more complex. So, but that is interesting. Okay, so the summary of questions, circles, how to get the contacts to have access to a company's projects, public information files, etc. Great. And do all the contacts in the company that are added in the circle see others' information, or can we have a contact added to multiple companies without being the primary contact? Okay, I understand. So let's deal with the first one first. Circles. Yes, what we don't have, or what we don't enable, and properly so, is that anyone in the company to be able to act on behalf of the company. Okay. But what you can do easily is create a company dashboard where every company member would be able to have access to that company dashboard and see public information, which would be defined as public custom fields about that company. Okay, Jessica. So let's look at the client side here as an example. So you have this user, Harrison Ford, is logged in and he is representing a company, Millennium Falcon. Okay. because he is the primary contact. And he can act on behalf of Millennium Falcon in the sense of submitting forms, in the sense of uploading files, doing onboarding, paying invoices, all the things, acting as a company, almost as if the company was on the end of that keyboard and mouse. But Harrison Ford is the primary contact and doing that on the company's behalf. So what we cannot do is allow multiple people to have that same level of access in a way that's loose, but I guess is one way to say it. So yes, you can have multiple people associated with a company, but they don't all have the same type of access. But what they can see, if you were to design a company dashboard, say, for example, let's go back and do something similar, kind of do something on the fly here. If you were to design, we'll call this company dashboard. When you create a company, we automatically create what's called a company circle. See here, these CO colon circles. So imagine we create a company circle for Millennium Falcon. This means that anybody who is assigned to the company as a primary or as what we call secondary will have access to resources. Coach K, I'll tell you in just a sec, have access to the resources that are assigned to the circle. And this is a dynamic structure, which means someone is associated, you have someone in the company, but then you take them out of the company, they instantly lose all access to resources assigned to this circle. And if you add someone, they instantly gain. And what that keeps you from having to do is go back through the 10 different pages or folders or whatever you have created as a structure and assign the person and then go back and unassign them and reassign a different person. You do it all at one time by adding them or removing them from the circle. And this is done automatically with company circles. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, Coach K, Lakiva. Gotcha. All right. So this will be your company dashboard, and I won't have time to explain how these priorities work, but the way I'm configuring it here, it will be the company. Okay, we'll have access to this dashboard, and then here you can create whatever dashboard configuration you like, or load one from the template library. But let's just call this. Let's do something really quick here. Company information. And now I'm going to just set this as a header. Heading 1. But in the content, however you lay it out, it's quite easy to use placeholders for company public information. Company public information, these are custom fields that are set as company public, can be viewed by any member of the company. Okay. Company private information, this is a different type of custom field, can only be viewed by the primary contact. If a non-primary contact associated with the company lands on this page, these placeholders will return nothing. They'll return blank, as if they were not even there. So that's just something for you to know. But you could build these values like any one of these, testing, calculating. These are all tests, but you could build a spectrum of custom fields that holds data about the company and insert it into data layouts like this. And then let's go ahead and save this. This company dashboard can be viewed by anybody that's associated with the company. And in this case, we can let's have Harris from here. Okay. Or the company itself. And they can see this. And then any data that you see, any dynamic data by placeholders would be replaced and inserted in this place. Okay. I'm sorry I don't have a perfect example of this, and I hope this explanation is a little bit on target as far as that goes. Jessica, good. Can anyone with access to the company see files that are shared with the company? Yes, but not yes, but you need to design it that way. And here I'll explain. The way I would do that is probably there's a couple ways to do that through the files functionality. Okay, so you could use the files toolkit directly and create a shared folder and share it with the company circle. Okay, so just in the way I talked about before, if you have a shared folder, let me find one here. We'll just modify it. Okay, so edit the share. So this is a shared folder. It will be shared with everybody in this list. Okay. But you can also use company circles here. Circles. Let's see. Here's the company circles. So same way as with the dashboard. If I share this folder with the company circle, then everybody who is in the company circle, meaning associated with the company, will have access to this shared folder and any folders and files that are inside of that. Okay. So that means you're sharing the files with the company circle. So that's different in semantically than sharing it with the company user, which is the company itself, which means it would only be shared with the primary contact. I hope that makes sense, right? So if you were dealing in a one-on-one business relationship with a company, typically you're not going to be well, in a primary type business relationship, you won't be sending and revealing and interacting in a public way with everybody in that company. You're going to be doing it with your one point of contact, your primary contact, right? Sometimes those things are kind of sensitive and they're just for that person's eyes only. So there's more than one way to do things, and the reason is because that's the practical application. In most cases, you're going to want to share in a private kind of way with your primary contact, but there's also a way to share publicly with everybody in the company in cases you need to do that. Or if you really just need to create a very, very specific circle that's associated with only, say, 6 people at the company out of 20, you can create a custom circle and share only with those 6 people. So there's a way to manipulate the system, the platform, to do just about anything you'd like. Is there an option to have more than one primary contact? Not yet, Jessica, but we do plan to add something like that in the future. Primary functionality for that is for CPAs and bookkeepers, et cetera, and attorneys who have the need quite often to have partners in a business, for example, or partners in life, marriages, have the need to have 2 individual users with 2 individual logins accessing the same exact experience and seeing the same data. So that is the use case for multiple primary contacts, and it is something that we do plan to enable in the future. I couldn't give you a timeline, but yes. As well as things like billing contacts and other functional type contacts that would have the ability to work in that functional way for more than one company. So this is a contact that has one company, but if he was the primary contact for 3 companies, then he would be able to switch and say, okay, I'm currently representing Millennium Falcon, but I now want to switch and represent a different company, a different company, a different company. Jessica, one more question, then we'll jump to some others. I think, will there be in the future a way to have secondary contact to be allowed more than one company? Yes, but only if they are a functional contact, Jessica. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Because we have to have them. If we log someone in and they are a part of more than one company, unless they choose one of these companies, we don't know, say, what data to show them on something like a company dashboard, right? So if they run into a company placeholder, there's no way that we can look at that person and say, okay, well, they're related to 5 companies. What data do we show here? So we can't logically solve that. There is not a possibility there. So The solution there is to only allow this type of functionality for a person who is functionally working as a functional representative of a company. And in that case, it can be done because they'll switch into their role for company A and then switch into their role for company B. And because they use the profile switcher here, we're able to now very positively identify what company they're representing at that moment and return the proper data. If they are not functionally representing these companies, then really there's no functional point in having them be associated with multiple companies because there's no functionality. So in that case, we're not too disappointed that can't put them on like a company roster. Really, that's all it is. And so the functional side of it is technically possible and planned and will be solvable in the future. Yeah. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It kind of made sense to me as I was saying it. Okay, good. All right, let's roll up through the questions. I'm gonna throw the chat back up and let's move through these. Okay, good. I think we are good. Okay. T. Okay. I'm in the tax industry and operate as a one-woman show. You go, girl. With the growth, I am looking for a CRM to assist with keeping the workflow going and know where all clients stand from beginning to end of the tax return process. Can you briefly discuss how this can be done with the software? Good, T. All right. There's a few ways that you can do this. I would recommend, and I don't want to, I'm not going to be able to go very, very deep into this process, but let's talk about it in the sense of fundamentals. Circles are a key component of what we do. T. I'm saying T. Let me try to narrow down a better one. Teresa, right? Teresa, no? Okay, well, maybe you can help me, but until we'll call it T. What I want to say is that for circles, that's a way of identifying a type of client, or that's just one level, one way to look at it. But it's also a way of can be a way of identifying, say, a stage that a client is currently in. Camille, okay, great. An example might be something like this: SEO funnel step 1, SEO funnel step 2, step 3. Okay. So in your example, we're going to call it just tax return funnel, tax return workflow. You may be able to identify, say, 6 different steps, 8 different steps. One is an intro, one is a next level, one is file uploading, one is, they're in processing mode. That is a very good way to think about it. When you break this down into your workflow, you'll create a circle for each one of those, and probably a circle for an overall. See how there's SEO clients and then SEO funnel step 1. So they can be in more than one circle. That is normal. And the way to think about this, Camille, is to think about wristbands at a conference. Okay, so you go to a business conference, you get one wristband that lets you into the big building, and then they give you a little different color wristband that lets you into the VIP room, and then you get another colored wristband that lets you into, I don't know, backstage pass or whatever you want to call it. Okay. As you make your way through that convention, there's security and gate people and velvet rope people that are going to be looking at your wrist to see what, quote, circles shaped like wristbands you are a part of. You can have multiple, you can have only one, but these are your keys to get into areas or have access to areas or be identified in a certain way. So you'll have your tax return client circle, which will give them an overall identification, and very likely identify them as identify them their dashboard or some portal configuration menu configuration, access to file folders configuration at a high level can be given based on that overarching circle affiliation. Okay, so here's a good example. This is not tax return, but it's payroll. So this is what I mean. This is a standard, a generic standardized dashboard that's permissioned to a payroll services circle. Okay. And you can even, but see how this is built in a generic way. This image is generically programmed to show the contact's avatar. And these progress charts are generically shown to show the value of a custom field, right? Which is a generic structure, but has a unique value for each contact or company on the other side. So to demonstrate this, if I preview here and I load one of the clients, companies, the platform is showing the same dashboard to everybody in that circle, but it goes and gets unique information, unique data, unique to the individual client. Okay. And all of these can be set in a dynamic way, which will allow you to, that one's not a good example. So we'll move to a different one. So see, these numbers are different. This avatar is different. Every time I change to a new company, I get a new spectrum of data that's retrieved from that individual company's profile. So, to go into it a little further. So the high level circle will identify, say, the portal experience that's generic to all of them. Then you'll create a stage circle, is the way I would do it, the way I would call these stages. And on the first onboarding, you're going to put them in step 1. And then every time they complete one of the stages, you'll use an automation to move them to the next circle. All throughout the platform, we have what we call automation opportunities. And these opportunities are at places like approved a proposal, maybe in your case, or completed an appointment, or you can be manually triggered, or whatever happens in your workflow that you design. We would prefer that you look for automations, right? Because this takes any manual work off of you. And in these places, you have access to the automation suite, which we have here. And in these places, you can remove from circle and add to circle. So, right, in our example that we already looked at, let's just say you'll in this case, you'll remove them from stage 1 and add them to stage 2. And now you can change the experience that they're going to have when they log in, just because now they're associated with a new circle, and you can design the portal to adapt differently to them now, show them different information, different folders, different first experience dashboards, etc. But not only can you perform this one automation of changing circles, but you can also do any number of these other automations, meaning sending them emails, changing their salesperson, changing their coordinator. All these might not be in your wheelhouse, but something like send file request. Nice. This might be, right? So you want to send a file request that says, please upload your W-2s. Please upload your K1s, or download your K1s, or, upload your bank statements. All of this can be done. There's a lot of ways to do that. But at each stage, you would define a workflow for that stage. And then at the end of that stage, either by automation or manual, preferably by automation, you'll move them to the next circle, which defines their stage in your process. Okay. I think that's as clear as I can make it in the short term. But what you can then do on your side, this is a dashboard for a super admin, but let's go to dashboards. If you are the super admin, you can always use the super admin fallback dashboard, or you can create your own dashboard just for you. We're going to call this our metrics or stage overview dashboard. And now you're going to assign it to, we'll say you, the super admin. Say, for me, I want to see this dashboard every time I log in. Okay. Yes, you can create it whatever you want. But what's more interesting is, let's say you have, you want to add the CRM filter block. Okay. This filter block is designed to show you a return of basically info cards of clients or companies that fit a certain description as defined here. In ours, you're just going to choose this, say, stage 1 circle. Again, this is not, I'm jumping between accounts accidentally here, but so now this is only going to show me people that are in stage 1. What am I going to do? I'm going to copy this and move it over here to this other column here. And now I'm going to change this and change this to not stage 1. I'm going to change it to stage 2. Let's see here, for example. Okay, so now I have a different list of clients. Yep. And now you can create 3 of these, 6 of these. You can set this one up for all the way up to 6 columns. And you can call this stage 1. Make it a nice header. You can make this all as nice as you want. And that's what you get. And you'll have a very easy way to see who's in stage 1, who's in stage 2, who's in stage 3. In addition, I'll show you just another quick try to look at something that will be helpful to you. I was there a minute ago. Let me get back. Here, yeah. You can create a custom field that will hold. This is not what I want. Here. You can create a custom field that's designed specifically to hold the progress percentage through that workflow that you defined. Okay. The platform cannot know what your workflow is going to be, how many stages you're defining it as, and then somehow return some progress percentage based on what? I mean, we have no way to know, right? So what we do is we let you define that. So what you'll do is you'll go to custom fields and you'll create a specific custom field for something like, here's a good example, podcast onboarding progress. That's what I'm calling it. It's a number type custom field. So when you're creating it, you'll set the usage. If you're typically working with companies, you'll set company public. You don't need this. And you'll set number type. Okay. So it needs to be a number type to work in this application I'm about to show. So you're going to do this, and this is going to specifically be built and created to hold this percentage number. Why? Because here in the chart block that's available in our block builder, and it's one of the blocks you can add here. And this is, it's right here, or progress bar. This is a progress bar block, but this is the pie chart or arc functionality inside of it, progress type. You can adjust all these, but the key is here. When you say, what is the data source of this chart? It can be just a normal value. You can set it and it'll always be the same no matter who sees it or when it's seen. That's boring. Custom field, number type. Guess what? Podcast onboarding progress, or in your case, tax return onboarding progress. And you can set a color. And what's cool about this? It's cool because no matter whichever, you can set this as a generic dashboard, and it doesn't have a progress until you tell it which client are you asking me about? You know, who are you saying? Who do you want to show this to? Well, when Millennium Falcon sees it, it's set at 25%. Okay. Why is it set at 25%? Because that's part of my process that I built and designed, same as the way I designed the circle changes. Now let me let you know what that means. So when I go back and when we showed you the automations, and I'm only going here to this automations because it's the fastest way to get to this automation suite widget. But understand that everywhere in the platform, everywhere that's possible, we create these automation opportunities, in the sense that if you go and edit an invoice, or you're building an invoice or an estimate or proposal, you have these, here they are, assign automations. And in this case, all the automations that you assign here and create here will be triggered when this invoice is paid, right? So not just the circle change, but also custom field value. This is a good example. Actually, this is a perfect example. I have set this automation that it's going when it's triggered, it's going to move my podcast guest to stage 2, and it's going to change the value of this custom field, which is currently 25, to 35, or whatever you define, 45, 52. It doesn't matter. Anything you put here. So as your people are going through stage, right? You are using automations to, okay, now I'm moving this to circle 2, circle 3, circle 4. I've increased their percentage of progress, but from 25 to 35 to 45 to 75. And what they are seeing, who cares how it is abstracted, what they are seeing is a very nice process, a very nice indicator of their progress. Every time they come into the portal, it recognizes what stage they are currently in, and you can present a different experience to them. Understand that custom menus can be adjusted. Every menu item here can be shown or hidden based on the based on circle. So you can hide it from everyone, you can show it to everyone, or if you say, I only want to show it to certain circles like SEO funnel step 1, or I want to show it to everybody, but I only want to hide it from SEO circle step 2. So you can build an entire logic so that as they move from circle to circle to circle, certain menu items, even ones that you build from scratch, can be visible or not visible based on their circle at that moment. Circle or circles, yeah, at that moment. All right, so usually this is where the oohs and ahs come in, but anyway, what you can do is essentially unlimited. So what I would recommend is for sure to understand your process first, which is always a good first step. You did a good job at explaining it here. Workflow, and I think you did let me look at the question you submitted, because I think there was even better, probably had more time there. See, okay. So you say sending engagement, requesting documents, completing the tax return. That's your part, I think. Review the stage, finalize the stage, invoicing and sign off. Yeah. So each one of those, you want to break down and say, okay, how am I going to do that? Okay. You can use sending engagement is a document template that you're going to send them as a contract that they sign, I assume, right? On the signing of that contract, there is automation opportunity, which you, of course, would use to move them from one circle to the other and change and trigger whatever other automations you have. Probably an email to yourself to say, this client completed stage 1 and has now moved to stage 2. I'm a big fan of including these emails to admins or to the appropriate person in your staff. See these email internals, right? So now you can specify who will receive these emails, because what this does, it makes your email inbox like a little status update box. And as you're sitting there having breakfast and having coffee, as you're watching people move through your automations and the emails are coming in, it's a nice feeling, because you know that this is work. Every email that I get that lets me know that one of my automations is doing work for me is pretty nice, because I know that there's at least 15 minutes, if not more, manual admin work used to be behind what that email now represents. And so that's where the magic happens when you build these automations and you build the workflows, you build the funnels. You refine them over time. They won't be immediately perfect. And this is one thing I definitely want to say for anyone that is hearing this kind of thing for first time. Definitely, as you see me build these admittedly ugly first beginnings of these dashboards, this is okay, right? This is okay. And in fact, you ought to say in here, this is stage one. And they land here after X, and just define it. We call this an MVP. It's an MVP build. It's a skeleton build, right? You want to do this, and because too many people will get caught up trying to say, okay, I'm on stage one and I need to make stage one perfect, and I need to figure out how to make this perfect and that perfect and every pixel work perfectly. And then they burn out and they never even actually put it together, and that's a shame. What you should do is create skeletons, MVPs, really work it, and focus on the process. Get everything working in a very ugly way. Just admit it to yourself. It's going to be horrific. It's not going to look good at all. But what I'm interested in seeing is I'm interested in the wiring, the plumbing. I'm interested to see it all work. And when you see it all work, that will be all the motivation you need to go back step by step. Or I'm also a big fan of, once you have the wiring wired up, it's very easy then to hire someone who has web skills, making things pretty skills, and bringing them in and say, okay, here's what I have. Here's the data I need to. People, web people can work pretty easily after all this. Your business, your workflows. It's your job to put them down on paper. It's your job to figure out what's acceptable to you from the workflow side. It's not your job to build beautiful portal pages and dashboards necessarily. You can certainly get a good start coming from the template library, and everyone needs to be aware of the template library. There's great examples here that you can start with. Here's a good one, a tax preparation dashboard, right? It's where you can this uses our download block, and I'll show you this in just one second. Let's see. I think I have it. I will have it in one moment. So we have a file upload and a file download block that help you kind of bypass this files functionality and present a very straightforward and simple dynamic way for these files to be uploaded. So this is the file download block, not the upload block, but let's demonstrate. So let's say you, Camille, no, not Camille, whoever my CPA is, Tahalia, sorry, thank you. Or maybe it was Camille, sorry, T. Okay. Yes, I see Camille. So when you complete the returns, yes, you can train either you or your staff to upload the returns into a specific folder associated with a client, right, or company. And that's it. They don't have to go into some other portal or some other place, because you already built this dashboard that your client has access to. You already put the download block here, and you already opened the download block. And this is a beautiful segue into a recent feature release. This is it. You already told the download block, I want you to go to the user specific dynamic path, which means of the company or contact. Look in the repository parent folder, and here's this destination path, and any files that are in that path for the logged in client, I want you to display them here for download. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that if I go here, your staff has access to these files, and they go to a company's files, and they go to, I believe this is the one I was using for this. And here's the repository that we've referenced in that download block. We're going to go to outbound because we're talking about downloading. Here's the folders created. Let's go to 2022. Corporate returns. There it is. Okay. So look, 2022 corporate returns, BuzzColor repository. Let's look back. 2022 corporate returns. What we're telling this download block is when a client logs in, I want you to look. This is the logged in client. It's the only one I want you to look at. Look in their specific path associated with them. In this case, this is the client, BuzzCola. If there is a file there, I want you to display it. All right, let's look at the preview. If there are no files there, it will display this. But if BuzzCola logs in, it will display their returns and any other files you put in that folder. So in the end, all you have to do when you're finished with the returns or whatever you're trying to deliver, in whatever play you're trying to deliver, there's so many options here that I don't want to make it sound like it's some simplified process. It can be simple, but it also can be as complex as you need and flexible as you need. So all you will do is go to this place here and upload the files. And that's it. You're done. You don't have to go and add them to some portal or some other folder. This is trainable. This is replicatable. This is your staff going, okay, I just need to go to this client who I just finished these returns for, find this path and upload the files. Done. And the very next time that BuzzCola logs in, they're going to be able to download those files. And guess what? They will never have to call you or email you for their tax returns ever again. When they go to buy a house, when they're trying to get a line of credit, am I preaching, Camille? Am I preaching? I mean, is this not the bane of all CPA tax prep professionals in the in the world? Hey, can I get a copy of my 21, 2020, 19, 18, 17, 16 tax returns, federal and personal? Oh my God, there's 3 hours of my time gone. And guess what? They don't want to pay for that. They won't pay for that. So you have to rein them in. You have to find a way. And this is a way that you can do it in a dynamic way, replicatable, trainable, automatable, that when they log in, they'll have instant access to those files. And yes, some will fight you. Some will fight you. Clients will always try to fight and say, I don't want another login. Well, we have Magic Link login. We have every kind of ability to make it easy for them. All they have to do is put their email address and it's one click to log in. But I will tell you, here's a little tip. I have an accountant that I'm acquainted with, and she was using the system and she had some pushback. And so I will recommend the same strategy to you. I said, well, why don't you just send out an email and say you're raising your prices by 10% unless they want to use the portal, and then the prices will remain the same. And she said, that's all it took. They came in droves. They begged to use the portal. They wanted to use it. And then, of course, 2-3 times after using it, they're like, hey, this is great. I didn't even have to email you. I didn't have to call you for my tax returns. I just got them. And there they were. Incredible, right? It's progress. It's the future. This cannot go any other way, right? And the reality is, whether or not you're using SuiteDash or some other mechanism to accomplish this, it makes sense that if your business doesn't get moving and on board with this type of technology and automation and streamlining and those kind of things in your business, then you are at a disadvantage to your competition, because they will. And if you are spending any brain cycles throughout the day digging up tax returns and doing things that can be accomplished in an automated zero cycle way with a portal, then for sure you are at a disadvantage to someone who is ripping through their day doing things that only they know how to, only they can do. That is always the way you want to be in business. You always want to be only doing tasks that only you can do. right? And your whole organization needs to be structured in the same way. As soon as if there's something that someone else can do, you need to what they call delegate and elevate. Delegate it away or automate. Automate is the first preference. So automate, then delegate. So first you want to see if you can automate it. And if you can't automate it, then you delegate it. And you need to get your tasks down to only the things that only you can do. And that's when you're efficient. If you're spending all day doing admin work as a professional, that's not efficient. And there's no way you're going to be able to scale your business or scale your profit that way. I know you all are probably super hard workers, but you can't 10x profit because you can't 10x your work. You can't 10x 40 hours a week. The only way to 10x from where you are now is to automate and streamline and take 90% or 75% or some very large percent, hopefully, work away from you into somebody else, into some other process, ideally an automated process. So, yep. So whether it's SuiteDash or another mechanism, I'll leave that to you. But I would definitely recommend that you move in that direction. But I can say that SuiteDash was built from the ground up to do this. Okay. We're an all-in-one from day one, I like to say. We're not some website builder that decided to build, buy, or bolt on these functionalities after the fact. And they're kind of kludgy. They don't work that well, a little janky. We were the plumbing and the electricity and all the vital networking was put in place before the construction started, and you will see that in action. It's in a specific way to see it is really in the automations, the way that one part of the platform can trigger another, and you can build an entire workflow that helps you automate as much as possible around your business. And let me close with just one more thing. I like to show this. I think I've shown this at almost every webinar for the past few weeks. This is a good example of how we build. So we recognize that no business can be automated fully. That is a pipe dream. Anybody that tells you that is crazy. We know that. Humans have to be involved. But what we encourage you to do is think about it in terms of the target. This is the person who enters the top of your funnel. Think about everything you're doing in terms of trying to put them immediately into an automation slide, I call this. And then when they come out to place what we call a checkpoint, a human interaction checkpoint. Okay, one sec. Please show me how to get LMS products to my clients without the funnel, please. Okay. Well, you'll need to get them into your system, but as soon as you get them to your system, it's quite easy to add them to an LMS product, and the delivery is pretty well automated at that point, Coach K. Or, sorry, I'm losing track of all the people. But the automation slide, this is where SuiteDash is working on your behalf. The ball's in their court. It lands here onto a human interaction checkpoint. We encourage you to try to distill the choices here down into some reasonable number of scenarios, 1, 2, 3, 4, say, for example. And then you can build what we call an auto template for each one of those scenarios, so that when you're at this place, all you have to do is choose scenario auto template 1, auto template 2, auto template 3, auto template 4, which, as we showed previously, can include any number of individual automations. So let's get back to here. I should keep more tabs open. Just don't want to jump around, but so this is an auto template, right? So I'm building this auto template, and I can trigger this auto template anytime I want manually for a specific company or contact. So if I build this say, call this scenario 1 or scenario 2 in relation to this workflow, then what I can do is build multiple changes here, multiple triggers I could start send a file request, move deal to a new stage, shoot an email cannon, grant an LMS product we're looking at here. All these can be automated. And I could trigger this from here. So basically, my human interaction is identifying the scenario with my human brain and selecting the auto template 3 or 4 clicks, and I am done. Because then that now moves them back onto an automation slide, balls in their court. They have to work their way through. And this is how you can build a practically automated business. Can't be fully automated, but if you go and build what needs to be built to achieve this practical automation, we literally get emails from people who say, I kind of don't know what to do with my time, because I wake up in the morning, I watch these emails come in, I see the ones that I need to be a part of, which is these, but I've built these auto templates that then put them back on the slide. So they spend 30 minutes or an hour, maybe a little more in the morning, evaluating checkpoints, triggering auto templates, sure, a few more things, but then they can kind of walk away for a little while because they're waiting on their clients to fulfill their side. Or maybe this is where they do that on that work that only they can do, But the point is, what they don't spend is a bunch of time doing admin work, duplicating a proposal from the previous client and digging through it to try to make sure that they don't leave any data about the previous client, change all the places, and stressing out about that. Then you send that out, then you answer more emails, then you spend half of your day and most of your brain cycles just keeping things from breaking down. Whereas when you work on your business and not in your business, you can build mechanisms, processes, systems, and automations that do that for you in a way that's replicatable every single day without using your brain cycles. And that, my friends, is a much happier life. That's what we call sweet freedom. # sweet freedom. That's what you're going for. And that's what we work for every day. That's what we're building for. That's why we're here to help you. So what's the difference between doing automation templates versus using flows? So they're pretty different, Camille. And let me jump to it real quick. So automation templates are automations that are triggered based on a completion event. A flow is really simply it's much like an onboarding mechanism for a specific onboarding or a specific process. So what a flow is a multi-step. Let's look at a different one. I think would be better. A multi-step process that can include different types of steps that you can be a part of your workflow. And in fact, some of the things that we've talked about, like file upload and signing and all these things, can be accomplished in a flow. The preview is not a perfect representation, but it is a good example. This is a signing step. They can sign and then move to the next. And this is flows are designed to be an onboarding process that can be completed in one sitting. That's usually what we recommend. So this would be something that you're thinking that this is small enough, light enough that maybe they can do it in one session. Doesn't have to be one session. There are ways that we provide very intuitive ways to get back here. If they leave on a specific step, they can definitely pick back up. So I don't want to say it like that, but I don't want to act like it can't be used that way. It certainly can, but it's not designed to be a life of the customer type of step by step. This is kind of a 1 or 2 sessions. I want you to upload your logo, and then here's a plain text, like a explanation of the next step. So these are just illustrating some of the different types of steps that are available. This is just a preview. When you add a new flow step, it can be a form, an e-sign, an appointment setting step where they set an appointment with you, file upload or download, or a content block. We call this a content step, where essentially it's used to embed, say, video, or it's like just a text block essentially, and you can explain. People use it to, oh, okay, good job on the last step. The next step, you need to maybe go and collect all these documents. The next step is a file upload step, so you might want to do that. Here's a good example. What comes next? And then they move to the file upload step. Then you have okay, great job. What comes next step? And you can move them through this flow. Now, to finish the answer to your question, each step of a flow has a automation opportunity associated with it. So as each step is completed, then you can configure automations to be fired based on the completion of that step, and you can configure automations to be fired based on the completion of the flow as a whole. So this is similar to the construction that we talked about earlier with the circle changes, although that is a little more flexible and long-term for the journey of the client all the way through from birth to death, for lack of a better way to say it. A flow is more designed to be like a early in the relationship, early in the process, data collection type of mechanism. But you can trigger, again, automations to be fired on each step completion. So even if you wanted to use these emails, these automations, just send an email to the target, say, hey, great job. Don't forget to do the next step. Hey, great job. Don't forget to do the next step. Or, the possibilities are endless. There's any number of things you can do here. Just another cool Lego in the box of Legos that you can employ based on how you perceive your workflow, the needs of your workflow. Yeah. Okay, Coach K, sorry, I just keep. I'm getting. I know it's not Camille, so Coach K is Teresa. Yeah, I can. Sorry. Yes, please contact help@suitedash.com. I'm sure we can work it out with you. There's nothing going on. It's probably just a small tweak. And Caitlin is correct. That is a pretty common thing to overlook, even though it looks like you haven't. But yes, it's fairly common to overlook the publishing and active status of the course and the product. Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. Oh, the background. Good. So you guys notice we have these. I have these in these sample accounts, these demo accounts, these backgrounds that they look pretty good, I think, in most cases. If you do something like, let's see, how can we see it best? I think here. So you see the background, and we'll call this the frosted glass effect, and you saw the same in the other accounts and in this one as well. Let's go to platform branding, and here's where you'll see you can set for the entire platform a background and enable this effect here. And you can also set custom loaders and all sorts of ways to really white label the platform, and more of these type of things are on the way. We're just constantly finding and building new ways, not only these things, but we're not ever going to pause on these really, really unique white label elements that allow you to customize your platform to be uniquely different and branded to your business in a way that gets attention, impresses. This is what we're after. We're building soon some custom login pages, options. On each one of your dashboards, you can set a unique background image. So here's one here, but notice that on the on the portal pages, each one can have a unique background. You can set custom CSS on each portal page, on each dashboard as well. Any dashboard that you're creating. And when I say dashboard, just to be clear, is the dashboard that someone finds when they click this native dashboard button, menu item. So you can set the primary background here, custom CSS and JavaScript, many options, and a constant improvement and iteration, extending in those directions is happening. So based on our ideas, of course, but also based on feedback from the community, we are constantly interfacing with the community, from the voting board, the community, the SuiteDash community, the VIP suite, etc. Working with you guys as a community to provide exactly what you need. So please don't think that just because you don't see it, it cannot happen. Feature requests are something that we thrive off of, and hopefully can gauge properly the interest from the community as a whole. And when we notice that it's something that can be universally useful and beneficial, and it's within the scope of something we can achieve with our resources, we're happy to do it and turn it around as fast as possible. Not in every case. Don't hear that, but definitely those are things that happen on a regular basis. Okay, everyone, I have enjoyed it. I sometimes say this is the easiest hour of my day because I just get to talk about something I really like. Yeah. This is not my first day in business, and especially not in client related businesses. If you don't know the history behind SuiteDash, this is kind of like the dream that this is like a dream that I would have dreamed of back in the day, to have this. But now we get to build it and hopefully make an impact for people like you. So thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Coach K and Jessica and Camille out there, wherever you are. All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. We appreciate you. We take a lot of value from your suggestions and your feedback, and just enjoy meeting and getting to know everyone. Thank you for attending. You're welcome to come back anytime. So if you have a new question, please bounce back anytime. Tuesday and Thursday is the schedule. Normally, sometimes we have to reschedule or change those up, but that's what we're going to really try hard to stick with for the foreseeable future. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. See you later.